I'm in the process of building an AI agent that will look at responses from leads and then enrich that data. And I was trying to find a way to do Google searches in my Zapier workflow, and I couldn't find a way to do it on YouTube. So I figured I'd cover this today. I'm using a tool called Serper.dev, and what I'm doing is just basically doing an API call with some information to Serper.dev, and then it's returning an answer. From there, I'm going to enrich that data with ChatGPT, and I also am using Appify to scrape the company's website to learn a little bit more of that company, and basically making a profile of the company and the executive lead who I'm talking to. That way my AI SDR can respond better, and then I'm going to use that to prompt my team to give them curated responses to go ahead and reply to those leads. So if you guys want to see how I'm doing that, especially the API call with Serp.dev, jump right in. So in Zapier, I have a full workflow. I'm not going to explain the entire thing. That'll be a different video. If you guys want this full video and you want to see how I'm doing everything, make sure to hit the comment below, and there will be a link to opt in to get some of this information, and I'll send samples of my automations. But in here, let's start with the one that's more important, the SERP Dev. So I couldn't find a native integration with Zapier to actually Google search anything or have live up-to-date information. I know a lot of tools are coming out with that and they're all over the place, but just in a workflow, I couldn't find it. So I did a little bit of Googling, found SERP Dev, and then tried to find a YouTube video on how to actually use it. And of course it didn't exist. So you have to do a webhook. So if you come in here, you're gonna do search webhook, and then just do the standard webhook. And then from there, you're gonna come in and you're gonna do a post. So this URL is the URL we're supposed to use. So it's google.serpdev-search. So just copy and paste that. I can put in the description. And then you want it to be in JSON. So that's going to be the language that we're speaking to basically the software. And then SERP Dev is something that I just learned about. It's basically just an API that you can use to send calls and get Google results. It's kind of like Perplexity, but more the background. And unfortunately, Zapier doesn't have a Perplexity integration either at the moment, at the time of the filming this. So I created an account. It was a free account, and it's pretty affordable to top up. I'm not advertising this. It's just a tool I'm literally using. You gave me 2,500 credits. I've only tested it once so far, and it only used 1 credit. So really affordable, one-to-one lead. So not overly expensive for those credits there. All you need from here is the API key. You click on API key, and it has it encrypted, and you just copy that, and you're going to use that in a second. So you'll come in here, you'll use this specific URL, which is basically telling it where to pull for information, where to push that out to. And so that's kind of what it's going to go. And then you're selecting JSON, which is the coding language, query, I think, and then you put in your parameters. So this is exactly what you want to search. So it's going to basically, if I was going to go to Google, it's whatever you're going to search for. And in here, we're trying to find executives of companies. So I'm Scott Bartnick, CEO of Auto PR. So you're going to do a search basically like that. And what we're trying to get is almost a snippet. So we're pulling in these snippets, and it's pulling in a couple of links and enriching the data. So that's what that looks like. This part's really easy. Then I left everything kind of the same here, no touches. This part was the part that gave me a little bit of trouble. This is my API key, so I'll make sure my editor covers this up. But basically, you're just going to put x-api-key in all caps, and then content type, and then this is standard. The only thing you have to change here is your actual API key. The rest is just going to copy and paste this, copy and paste this, copy and paste this, and then that's literally it. You can then go ahead and then test it, and it gives you an output of a whole bunch of information that it found, and it gives you materials that you can then use. So what I did was, the next step is I went to enrich it. So I went to ChatGPT, and I just wanted to get a summary, so then I'm going to feed this into a different model, and then I'm going to have it come up with responses to these leads, but after it knows exactly who it's talking to. So imagine your SDR basically spent 10 minutes Googling the company, then spent 10 minutes Googling the executive they're talking to, then compiled it, and then enriched their response with that information is what we're trying to do here. So we'll come in here, and basically I have a prompt that you're an AI SDR, you're looking for certain information. You guys can copy this prompt if you want, or you change it however you want, but I'm looking for specific things. We're in PR, so I'm looking for, do they have a podcast? Do they have YouTube? Do they have awards? These are things that help us convert better if they're looking for credibility and social proof, and we lean on their ability to be in the news. Then I'm just prompting it with all the information. And here is the information we got from the Google search. So put that right in there, and then it's going to output basically a cleaner reply for us of all the information. So it works, it's all great, and that gives me the summary, which I can then use later, because the next step of this is going to be, I'm actually going to do a comparison to our case studies and see what's the most similar case study. I'm going to ask it a few questions. I'm going to use a bunch of models to get all these answers, and I'm going to have one model then go ahead and make a really curated response with similar case studies, talking about something they did that was awesome, highlighting something they did at their company. So all these little things, and I'm going to keep it still really short and concise, but make sure it's packed with curated information that you could only get by knowing about their company. Past that, I used Appify, which is kind of a newer tool for me. They're super powerful, but I wanted to learn about the website. So I could do the same thing. I could scrape and Google the company. But for this one, I actually just went ahead and used Appify. Same thing, it's pretty affordable. You set up an account. This one's already set up. You'd have to go in and connect the API. And then I'm just putting in a response URL. I don't know why that's missing now. So I'll come in here, go into instantly and go website. Oh, I remember. So this one can't be, it has to be like an HTTP. So I need to grab this from, I have that website being enriched from above. So and I think I deleted that step by accident. I did. Perfectly fine. So let's do that live. So this is a really easy one. I'm just using OpenAI to give me a conversation, and I'm going to prompt it to give me basically the company website as HTTP. So here we go. And I'll just be, please give me this website booting, and then just grab. So AutoPR, if you guys don't know, is #1 rated PR firm. That's my business, and we're just going to go through. Don't mind the spelling. And we're going to go ahead and say, including, and here's an example. And sometimes I have to play my prompt to get the output to be exactly what I want, but continue, test step, and let's check the reply. Okay, so we got the prompt to work. We basically just said, please give me this website formatted with HTTPS, and then we gave an example and said the output should be a URL only. So really simple. I didn't have to use JSON or anything like that. You can if you want, but this keeps it simple, and then we'll go ahead and test it, and we got the output of the reply. It's just the website. So then we can go to the next step, and this is the piece that I was missing. So we'll just grab here, and we'll grab our reply. And then in there, we can test. All right, so it worked, and you can see here it gave us a whole bunch of information, and then we'll be able to go ahead and reuse that information in the next step. So in the next step, we did a similar thing with what we did for that Google search. Is just, you're an AISDR, here's a bunch of information, give me a summary, and it's just really cleaning that up for us. So that's it. That's all I wanted to cover. If you guys like content like this, please make sure to subscribe. And I send over a lot of my automations, and I put them for free. If you use a link down below, you can subscribe and get access to those automations as they come out. I have a whole library, and I'm building some really cool ones, so make sure to subscribe. Thank you.